Well, it's a wet day outside, but fortunately, we've got a lot to do inside, so let's get going. Well, good morning. Welcome back here to the shop. Last week, we were able to not only get our horses pretty well carved, but we were able to get a really good sand on all of them. And there's still probably about a day's worth of sanding yet to do on these until we can get them into the paint booth. This week, what I want to focus on is I want to, of course, get them sanded. We're going to set the eyes on all of them. We need to cut the slots in for the mains and, of course, cut the hole for the tail. So that's going to be this week. This particular horse here, I'd like to go ahead and not only get it primered, but I'd also like to get the base coat on this one. This is going to be our medium buckskin on a safety stand. So if we can get that in its base coat, that would be great. Then next week we can go ahead and pull out the airbrush and start making this look like, you know, a buckskin. And I'm anxious to show you how I paint a buckskin, and I think they're really pretty, and you know, and I love playing with colors, so I'll show you how I do a buckskin there too. I've been paying attention to the weather here, and today is Monday, August the 1st, and we have a nice day today. We're supposed to have a nice day tomorrow, so that means we can go ahead and get set up outside, and we can work on sanding these and get these finalized here in the next day or so, and then we can get them into the paint booth. Wednesday, Thursday, the rest of the week, we've got chances of rain, so that's fine. If we can get everything done now and do it outside, then that means if it does rain the rest of the week, we can start focusing on building our safety stand, and we can bring that medium bow rocker over here and take it apart and get that all finished up and get that put together. So that would be great to do, you know, while it's raining outside. So that's going to be the focus this week. I know it's a pile of work, but I think we can get it done. So let's get after it. Now that we're moving our horses into the paint booth so we can start primering them, it's time I can put my attention on the glider stands for our medium horse. It's going to be a buckskin. Remember, I already have our bow rocker over on the table, so I'll be bringing that over here to the bench shortly to start finishing that up. But right now I've got some material glued up for our medium safety stand. I have the bottom rail, I have the cross pieces, I have the hoof rails all cut, and I also have a big chunk of oak here that's going to be our two posts. So where I'm going to start with this, I'm going to head over to the planer and start planing this material down. It's a bit thick, and I'm going to save you the agony. You've seen me plane before, and I'm going to save you all of that. I'll just head over and get this material planed, and then we'll meet back here at the bench and we'll start building our safety stand. Now I've got my bottom piece of our safety stand not only planed, but I went over to the joiner, joined the one edge, went to the table saw, and cut it to the size I need, and then back over to the joiner to finish up that edge. So I'm all ready to go. Bottom piece is all done. I did the cross pieces as well. So all that's left to do is to start measuring in from our ends. On a medium, we want to come in 11 inches to find center. So find 11 inches, get my speed square, and center that up. That's going to be the center of our cross pieces. So it's going to go something like that. So now all we need to do is center everything up. I'll grab my little handheld router and we'll put a router edge on all of these pieces. Then we can go ahead and glue them down tight. I can tell you all a funny story about me when I first started woodworking, and I always think about this. Back when I was in high school, a long time ago, I was, I believe, a sophomore, junior. I was not the best math student, believe it or not, and I had to take geometry, and oh boy, I dreaded taking geometry. And I can even remember telling the teacher one afternoon, "This is stupid. I don't know when I'm ever going to use geometry." Oops. I always think about that. It makes me laugh. Okay, anyways, I've got these all centered up. Let me get this all lined up here, and I'll go over, grab my router, and let's put a router edge on all of this. Boy, I've got to say, I love these handheld cordless routers. So this is by Ryobi. I've got a couple of these, and I'll tell you, this is money well spent. If you don't own one of these, you need to go get one. Now when I'm doing my cross pieces, you can router all the way through and just router all the way around when you put this beveled edge on. I like to stop it right where it meets the bottom part of our stand. I think it just looks a little bit nicer and it looks a little bit more finished. So I always mark this off and then just run my router around and stop it right where it meets. Again, I think it just looks a lot nicer than just having it run all the way through. So there's one. Get the other one done. Well, there we go. There's the bottom half of our stand. We'll let this dry overnight and then we'll come back to it and give it a good sand and then drill our holes for our two posts. But for now, let's go ahead. We'll work on cutting out the hoof rails and we'll mill out the top part of this stand. Well, the weatherman sure got it right this week. It's a new day here in the shop. I'm ready to take the clamps off the bottom part of my safety stand. I'm going to jump back in, and I've got the large horse in there. Yesterday I was able to put a light coat of primer on that, so it's ready to sand. So I'm going to go in, sand that, and spray another coat of primer on, and then we can come back out here and start working again on our safety stand. I've got the next horse though ready to go. It's up on the bench. It's ready to hit the paint booth as soon as that large horse is dry, and then of course I have another one, and then we're going to finish up with the small horse in the paint booth, and then hopefully here we can get some base coat put on that too, and so next week we can just continue on and just finalize as we get closer to August the 13th. So let me jump back into the paint booth, and then we'll get back out here and we'll finish building our safety stand.
later. A few inches later.
We've got chances of rain, so that's fine.
We've got chances of rain, so that's fine.
A little later.
Well, I'd say we got a little bit of rain. Wow. Never seen our yard with this much rain, or this much water. Well, I'd say this is a pickle. Wow, what a lot of rain.
The next morning.
Well, the rain finally quit last night. That was unbelievable. Most of that rain came down within 2 hours, if you can believe that. Now, my side yard will usually get a little bit of water and will hold a little bit of water. That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. So that was a lot of rain that we got in just a short amount of time. But everything drained off right now. So everything, we're back to normal again. So that means we're back here in the shop. Last night before I quit, I went ahead and chucked up my post and started turning that. I'm going to finish that up today, get my 2 posts turned today. I've got another horse I want to throw in the paint booth, and we'll start getting primer on that one. So that's going to be pretty much what we're going to work on today. Once I get these 2 posts turned, though, we can go ahead and finish assembling our glider stand. Now, again, I think with the show coming up here, I've got a week to get everything pretty well finalized for the first weekend. I'm just going to leave this a glider. I'm going to assemble it, but I'm not going to glue anything tight. I'm just going to go ahead and assemble it, maybe secure it with a couple of screws here and there. But then I can bring it back after the first weekend, give it a fine tune, stain it, and clear coat it. So that's where I'm at. So we'll just go ahead, we'll get our stand finished up. That way we can take it over and we can put it on display with the horse, and then we can bring it back after that weekend and we can go ahead and finish that up. So let me get everything, let me get the next horse in the paint booth and we'll get the turning. Well, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this episode. I'm real happy with what I was able to get accomplished this last week. The big thing was got the stand done, the medium stand for our buckskin horse. It's not finalized, it's not all clamped and glued. I'm going to leave it loose, like I said earlier, and that way I can go ahead, take it over to the show and display our horse on it, but yet bring it back the following week, and then we can take it back or take it apart, give it a final sand and stain it and clear it and, you know, put it all back together. So I think that's going to be the plan. Now this show again runs 3 consecutive weekends, so you know, we'll be able to bring that back next week and get it finalized. Wasn't able to get to the medium bow rockers this week as well. I was hoping to, you know, at least get those sanded, but with all of that rain and the storm that we had come through here, it just kind of backed me up a little bit. And but I think come Monday, that's going to be one of the first things I do is get those bow rockers over here. I'll get them taken apart, get a final sand on those, get them all sanded, and let's get that put together and finalized. Again, not worried about getting it stained and cleared. I can still take it to the show and display the horse on that. I was able to get 3 out of the 4 horses primered. So that's a big step there. That's a big check off the old checklist. Wasn't able to get to that little one, but I think what the plan is, I may just go ahead and work through the weekend and get some primer on our small horse, and I'd really like to get base coat on our buckskin. So again, come Monday, I can get into the paint booth and maybe start airbrushing it, you know, give myself Monday, Tuesday to get it airbrushed, and by Thursday, you know, clear it, and then by Thursday maybe do final assembly on that guy. So that leaves me Friday. I'm going to try to keep my Friday to finalize any little things that need to do, get everything loaded up, you know, and go over and get set up for Saturday. So that's going to be the plan right now. That I can think of, but I think we're in good shape. I think we're going to be able to put a lot together and still have a good show and show people, you know, again, what I do here at the shop. And speaking of what I do here at the shop, I really appreciate you all tuning in and hanging out with me and watching what I do here at the shop. Really means a lot to me, and I hope you're getting something out of these videos. If you're not, or if there's something again specific that, you know, you're stuck on or you'd like me to show you, I'd be happy to do that. One of the other things too, after the show is complete, after the 3 weekends, we may be taking a bit of a break on our horses unless some more orders come through. I've got a few restorations that we'll be working on, but I have some other projects and some other ideas that I'd kind of like to do, so I'll be sharing that too with you. So you're definitely going to want to, you know, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're notified, so when I post a new video. So I've got some new things coming up. Some other things I'm kicking around here that I'd like to take in the direction of the channel is not only I like to see your projects and what you're working on in your shop, but also I'm thinking about maybe like a pickle time. I'd like to hear and see what kind of pickles you've gotten yourself into. Again, that's kind of what the channel is about, is you know, the things that I get myself into. And believe me, this channel has a name, the Greenfield Pickle Factory, for a reason. But right now I've been keeping the pickles to a minimum. They're there. I just haven't been sharing them with you. I've got one that I do, a great story. I can't wait to show you this project and tell you, you know, the whole story behind that. You're not going to believe it. So I do have the pickles, but I'm just keeping them to a minimum. But I'd love to hear maybe what you've gotten yourself into. So I'm going to leave, again, my email and my contact info in the description. So, you know, I'd love to see what you're up to and see what you're doing in the shop, and tell me about the pickle that you've gotten yourself into. So again, really appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot. You can check me out on Instagram, of course, Greenfield Woodworks. I also have an Etsy storefront. If you shop on Etsy and you're curious, you can go on my Etsy storefront. Of course, it's Greenfield Woodworks as well. Facebook, Pinterest, it's all Greenfield Woodworks. You can find me pretty easily out there if you surf the web. So again, really appreciate you watching, and again, hit that subscribe button, you know, hit that notification bell, share these videos, give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it, because it helps me build the channel and grow this into, you know, what I kind of envision it to be. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you here at the shop next week.